Hello and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David and joined with me, as always, my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you today?
Good, David. How are you doing?
I'm good. You think it's a good day today?
I think it's gonna be doing a great day. How you doing, David?
I'm good.
You doing a bit of prophecy?
A bit of prophecy?
You do?
Oh, okay.
You doing a bit of video?
Yeah. Brian, have you got a trailer of the week for us this week? I should have seen this coming, but yes. Have you got a trailer for the week?
Yeah, sure do, David.
Go ahead.
I just said it.
Dune Prophecy.
Yeah.
I saw this trailer, and I think that'll be the last trailer that I watch of it, because I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward.
You enjoyed?
It looks like it's going for the same kind of visual style that obviously Dune 1 and 2 have gone with. So this just looks like another branching out, another aspect of that universe that if you want to see it, then this is it here for you.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not integral to, if there does come a Dune Messiah, then you don't need to have watched this at all. It's just a supplementary extra bit.
There are those who can look at this and think milking the franchise because Denis was originally proposed to be a director of the premiere episode, but now that's not the case. He's just an executive producer. Okay. But you could also look at it as just other potential good stories within the world of the universe. And after watching Dune Part 2, I am eagerly excited to watch a story of two Harkonnen sisters creating the Bene Gesserit to implement themselves into the course of the universe and making it to their benefit. After seeing Dune Part 2, between the Harkonnens and the Bene Gesserit, all in. I didn't think the trailer was as captivating as I had, I suppose, wanted it to be. I think a release date, not just a fall date, would have...
Is it this year?
It is this year.
Okay,
It's towards the end of this year. I'm going to guess November, December.
Yeah. Well, that's...
Well, it says fall, not winter.
Yeah,
so.
like it's not that far away. Like, consider now we're in summer.
Yeah.
So it's not too long to wait.
Yeah.
It does what I like in... What I like from a prequel, which is set it so far in the past that it doesn't have any bearing on what we've come to know as Dune.
Yeah.
So that way, the characters that we're introduced to, there's stakes for them.
Yeah.
You know, in the likes of, say, House of the Dragon, it's set a couple hundred years before Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So there's no problem with having a prequel that features some of the main characters. I liken it to Solo.
Therefore, lessening the stakes.
Exactly. Like Solo, the prequel Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I know that there's no danger to Han and Chewbacca.
And Lando.
And Lando. The other characters, I've never seen them before and I haven't seen them since.
Yeah.
Probably, something could happen to these people, but I know for definite these three characters. Whereas House of the Dragon, 100 years before, a couple of 100 years before, nobody's safe. The same again, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So, like that for Dune Messiah, that's what I want, is stakes, and I don't know what's going to happen. Everything could be, who knows?
Prophecy.
What did I say?
Messiah.
Oh, sorry, Dune Prophecy. Sorry, that's my mistake.
It was originally called Dune Sisterhood, but that was too easy of a word. Sisterhood? Nah, prophecy is better. But, to close this, I just want to say, I agree with you with Solo. However, Andor is a prequel. I think it's the greatest thing Star Wars has ever done since the original Star Wars movies. Just saying.
That's okay.
It's a prequel.
Yeah.
Being right's a lonely life.
Listen, there's ways to do prequels and there's ways not to do prequels. Andor does seem like the way to do a prequel to a prequel. Because Andor is obviously introduced in Rogue One.
Yeah.
But
it's also a prequel. So, and believe me, David, I did go into Andor thinking, what's the point? But then I watched it.
You were pleasantly surprised.
Oh, I was more than pleasantly surprised, David. It's scheduled TV. Moving on.
So, moving on to our main feature of the episode then. We're here, we didn't even say it at the top of the show. We are here to talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The now fourth entry into this reboot saga. I don't know. Previously, obviously, the trilogy with Rise, Dawn, and War of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
But now here we are. Kingdom, set generations after that trilogy, the Andy Serkis trilogy, as I would call it, the Caesar trilogy. Mm-hmm. And I think in the same way that I was talking about a link I didn't even know that we were going to do, the way that a prequel trilogy or a prequel film or show should take place years and years before, sometimes a sequel does need to take place years and years and years after and have a limited connection to the original.
Otherwise, you're just going to be scouring on the hunt for characters. Maybe this character could pop up, or maybe that character could pop up. You don't get that here.
No. So this film takes place at the start. We get a brief synopsis of the original trilogy. I say original, but you know, the reboot trilogy.
To us, it's the original. I wasn't alive for the previous entries of the Planet of the Apes movies, save for maybe the Mark Wahlberg one, but that doesn't count. That was a Tim Burton movie, not a Planet of the Apes movie.
So we're reintroduced here now, and we get a brief synopsis of the original trilogy with Caesar, and then we instantly come in and see Caesar's funeral.
Yeah.
And then
prologue, was it?
A prologue that's really, really limited, just to see Caesar is gone. We are no longer in this world of Caesar, and we're moving generations ahead.
But it was also good to put that in there, because if you didn't watch the previous ones, it was still good context to have. You know, this was Caesar. We see the apes honor him with his motto or principle
of apes together strong,
or his law. Yeah, apes together strong. It's a real good. It's a good one.
And I don't know about you, but having that little piece there and then immediately moving on,
many generations later,
it just fully set me up to now. I'm fully aware of what story we're getting. We're not following Caesar anymore, because Caesar or Maurice or Rocket or anyone that we were introduced into the first movie, we're now so far beyond to this kingdom now that
this new life, like the apes people, the apes we follow are our own little tribe who have their own world, isolated from everything else. The whole idea of kingdom isn't really introduced until later on.
No,
but you can think of it in a way, kingdom, which is another way of saying the apes as a species rule Earth, or just by living, therefore it's their kingdom. However way you want to talk about it, metaphorical, literal, doesn't matter. Maybe it does. But what I liked in this time committed setup for this movie is to show us who are these characters now, because a lot of people going into this, what's the point if there's no Andy Serkis, let alone Caesar? Everyone just wants Caesar, and you can't have that, no doubt. So how do you make us as the audience find intrigue into the new character, Noah? Well, rather than show him try to be this up-and-coming, aspiring leader to follow in his father's footsteps, but he's still struggling. He can't just reach to the heights that his father is. You know, that type of generalized storytelling trope where a character is struggling to meet the matches of those he looks up to, but still struggles and has a lot of learning to do. Well, there are remnants of that in Noah. Dude's capable. He is on the hunt for eggs because they breed eagles. Therefore, him and his two friends who were born together, therefore they're our friends, but they're also somewhat of siblings. And they go to retrieve the eggs. Dude, Noah has to do a hop, skip, and a jump over a ledge from one building to another, but they're just like gigantic trees from a distance. And he does so using a pole as a javelin to stick into the wall. And he goes to climb up and reach for anything he can lay his hands on to get a grip to climb up, while bringing the javelin pole from his feet to jam it into the next spot higher so he can keep climbing. What agility. Like, that to me is showing me that this guy is quick and he's fast and he's good thinking.
He's capable.
Yes.
Yeah.
he's able to handle himself in a way. And I like that. Good. I can actually root for this guy. I'm not going to be put off or bothered or think of him as a nuisance. No, that's actually the other guy, his other friend, who's, you know, was it? I can't remember his name, but he was like the Ron to his Harry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I liked about him. And we do see the set up of how his tribe, the Eagle tribe, raise eagles. And
well, see, that's what I think I liked the most. What I was kind of getting at the start was that this is so far removed from that original trilogy that these apes here now in this eagle tribe, they have no idea who Caesar was.
Yeah.
Do you know that this... We're so now far in the future that there's different tribes and there's different communities and stuff like that they don't know where they came from, which would be Caesar. Whereas in the original trilogy, it very much was Caesar and his apes.
Yeah.
And they work together and they all live together. And then towards the third film in War, they're introduced to Bad Ape, who is signifying that, you know, oh, there's more than just us.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't common knowledge to Caesar, that it wasn't just the people that were within his tribes, that other apes were also as smart as them. So now seeing them hundreds of years later, and we see a tribe with their own culture and their own traditions and just going about their daily lives. They don't know any different. They're just
living.
They're just living. They speak English and they speak using sign language. They don't know where that comes from. It's just what they've always taught. Like there was obviously a branch that have gone off, or, you know, they just, who knows where they came from. They don't, that's the thing, is they don't know where they came from. We don't know where they came from. We assume that they may have some connection to Caesar, but there's no guarantee of that, because Noah, who's our main character, has no idea who, he has to be taught it by a different character later on, who Caesar was, and the teachings and stuff like that. So I just think that it was a good way of progressing the world. Like you said there, it's a kingdom. You know, not in the sense of that there is a king over them, which we'll get to later, but that there are different tribes and different communities, that it is no longer just Caesar and his group. This is a planet of apes now. And then obviously as we move on to the story, we are introduced to another faction of apes then, who come in and they are working for Caesar, in quotations, you know, for Caesar, they say, as they attack the Eagle tribe.
What did you think of that? Because we see, okay, here are the villains, you know, the Vikings, the barbarians, big gigantic gorillas coming in to destroy his home and capture his people.
In the name of Caesar, yeah.
That caught me off guard a little when he kills an elder and ripped off his necklace and he shouted, "For Caesar." If you weren't clued in as an audience thinking, I'm not really for this movie because there's no Caesar and Andy Serkis, but you watch these villains and monsters proclaim their work in the honor and service for Caesar, that's gotta capture your attention. I think that should capture your attention. If you were just sitting there with your hand over your face and you're just, yeah, whatever, still miss Caesar, and then these guys shout his name as if he's Jesus to us. Whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
These are supposed to... What? These are bad guys. Why are they rooting for the good guy? No, what's going on here? So there's your connection. There's your attachment to enjoy.
And I think it works for both people who haven't seen the original trilogy and us who have seen them. Because it does really catch you off guard. It's like, for Caesar, and it's like, hold on a minute now. If there's two things I know from Caesar, it's ape together strong and ape don't kill ape.
Yeah.
And those were the kind of two core tenements for Caesar and his community and his society.
Yeah.
And now here we are, apes coming in and killing other apes just for the sake of it. And so you're like, what is going on here now? And I think as well as that, it helps that they say many generations later. They don't give an exact time frame.
Well, I do believe I was told somewhere, I think it was you, who told me a description of the upcoming movie. 300 years later, we follow this new kid, Noah, has no idea who Caesar is. I loved it immediately.
Yeah, I remember that when they announced it, that they said it was that it was 300 years later and no connection to Caesar.
I prefer many generations later.
Yeah, I do too, because it doesn't give an exact time frame, and then as well as that, it adds to that mystery of, oh, hold on a minute now, how close are we to Caesar? Because many generations, like, what's a generation? You know, how many years is a generation? How long do apes live?
Enough for the buildings to become devoured by nature. But apes live like 30 to 40 years, but clearly not these ones. Apes as in monkeys and chimpanzees and gorillas.
In the real world.
In our world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just by not giving an exact timeline, you kind of do question, like, oh, is this Caesar's successor, the original Caesar's successor, or is it his son's successor, or something like that? Like, how close are we to Caesar?
I never thought of that.
No?
I always thought that this... I suppose I just had it in my head 300 years. But I never thought we came across anyone who had potential to be descendant of Caesar or his sons. So never came across that. No one needs to be related to someone. We can just follow these new groups of people and enjoy them. And they did a great job. So rather than Noah go on his quest to retrieve and save his people with his companions, with the boy and the girl, because they get captured, instead have him come across Raka and team up with him, and them two team up with the Echo.
I love that as a phrase.
Yes.
That we're like that. We're so far removed from human society, the 300 years, that now humans are known as echoes to Noah and his tribe.
Yes.
Because Raka does say that she's a human.
Yes.
And he calls her an echo. It's like an echo, an echo of the past.
Yes.
I thought that was just really clever, just to differentiate that there's different tribes.
World building. It's world building.
It's exactly that. It's world building. And then, like you said, we're introduced to Raka. And I loved Raka. I thought he was great. He is a disciple of Caesar. If we think of Caesar as this world's Jesus figure, the one that led apes in their captivity to freedom, he is kind of the Jesus figure. And so Raka then would be one of his disciples or priests or something, and he's walking around with the necklace of the window. I just love that as a feature throughout these movies, that it's a symbol of Caesar, but it's the window that he looked out of. It was his kind of nearly captivity, even though the others had like proper cages.
Yes,
he was held up in the house. And I just love that it's such a minor detail. It's just a window. But for them now, it is the symbol of Caesar.
You can write a thesis on that symbol and all that it means and all that it is. Honestly, God, you could. So back to the quest. Teams up with Raka. He's a believer in his faith, but he's not all well-knowing. He doesn't know everything. He could be classed as the wise one, similar to Maurice. Of course, they make Raka the orangutan. But he believes in what the way of Caesar is.
The teachings of Caesar,
but he doesn't know why, really. And some things he knows are not exact. Like that one time where he tells Noah, this place was when the apes herded humans like cattle. And, we will call her Nova, because we call them all Nova. Called the girl Nova. And obviously I liked how that was an homage to the original Nova in the original Apes, and also something connecting to Nova from War of the Planet of the Apes. Exactly. So of course that Nova from that movie meant something to that tribe, to Caesar's tribe, after Caesar passed away. And then of course the other member of the quest is the Echo that Noah has been trying to shoo away this whole time. And she's played by Freya Allan, who I know from The Witcher. And I did think to myself, you see in the trailer that the humans who are feral, who can't speak, who are as dumb as apes are dumb now. I don't know if that's an insult, but... If
there are any apes listening now, we're sorry we insulted you. But otherwise, I think you're okay.
I did think that she's wearing human-like clothes, like a vest, trousers... What's going on here? We don't need to relive movies where we need to dress women up in bikini-like clothing for the sake of sex sells. No, we don't need that. But I was curious to know why she was wearing human-like clothes. And just want to indulge me for a second. I liked how, for a good portion of the movie, when Noah and Rocca were going back and forth on their dialogues and the interactions they come across, right? That Nova was what they expected her to be. A non-verbal communication echo who gets cold at night, who's starving
Defenseless,
for food. Yeah. Yes, really defenseless. Like, she keeps coming back like the little sensitive creature, almost like a pet.
Yeah.
And Noah, who's trying to shoo her away, whereas Rocca is saying, show mercy, which I really love. And she's still keeping herself away from them. She's not getting close to the fire. She's still hiding in the darkness, keeping herself warm. You know, I like how we got a bit of both in her character, right? Because I liked the idea from the trailers that this Echo, human, feral human in the world of the apes, was the character who we as an audience member, because yes, we are human, look at her and identify an attachment to her, but she's not the human we see ourselves as. She's ape-like, if you will. So
the roles are reversed.
Yes. So I liked how we can find attachment to her in that way, because we know her kind is capable of more. It's just not now. It's similar to how Spot in The Good Dinosaur is in that movie. The roles are reversed. We know they're capable of more, but just not in this world. But what I'm trying to say is we got that here, where she is the similar Nova-like character from the original Apes movie, where she is a defenseless, lesser being in this world, but still can play the role that she does until she spoke.
Well, before you get to that, I wanted to just back you up here now on what you were saying about her looks. I think that of the whole movie, she was the most out of place, because throughout the film you're watching and there's apes and they're riding horses and they are going about their daily lives, and there was at no point when I'm looking at the apes where I think that these aren't real apes. There was no point that I felt like this didn't look good, this didn't look real. Like, I could go back to the 1950s and show people this and they're like, oh my god, we have to stop this, you know, because they think that apes actually took over. Until I saw her and I go, she looks like she has walked out of a trailer, having done her makeup and got her costume and walked on the set, because she didn't look like she actually inhabited the world. She just looked too pretty. She looked like, oh, we just put this smudge of dirt exactly here. Do you know, your hair, even though her hair is
supposed to look dirty,
it doesn't, you know. And like that, yeah, she's in a tank top and like cargo pants. Do you know, like, she doesn't look like she... I heard this on another podcast that someone said, and I completely agree. She doesn't look like she's ever eaten a bug in her life. And that's what these humans should be. They should look like they are, like, just on a day-to-day basis surviving. And she doesn't look like that at all. So that took me out. Just her as the actress. You know, her trying to be the, like you were saying there, the person for us to connect with.
Yes.
That the studios or whatever, they still need us to find her attractive, conventionally attractive.
She has to be a beaut.
Exactly.
She has to be sexy. I'm sorry, that's just how it works. I'm sorry, but I didn't make the movie.
Need to have a good-looking woman to have on the posters next to the ape. Needs to have that.
Even more connection. So, she is front and center in front of Noah on the poster. Why? Because she's that face from The Witcher. Because she's pretty. Because she's a human.
I think it's because maybe do the studios feel like we need to have a human character to connect to? Because I don't. If there had been no humans in this, if it had all been apes, I would have been absolutely happy with that. I would have been like, yeah, perfect. The apes now are so human-like. I can still connect to them, you know, without the need for humans to be there.
I am actually glad that she was in the movie, and I am hopeful for the role that she will play based on what I feel having watched this movie.
Yeah.
I feel a few things that I really get behind.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong now. Like, the way that her character goes towards the end, which we'll get to, the actual intentions and what her character does and stuff like that, that is all good, and I really enjoyed that. But what I'm just saying is, had there been no humans, if we didn't have that human aspect at all, that's what I'm saying, I would have been perfectly fine with that. You know, if we were just telling a story about apes, I can connect with that. I'm not saying take her out, not at all. I'm just saying that if you wanted to make just an apes movie, perfectly fine.
But I think it adds a bit of flavour to it, because you look in the poster, you have the three. Of course, you have two apes and a human, but the two apes are so completely different. One's older, one's younger. One's wiser, one's less familiar. One's orange, one's black. And then you have the human. I like that. Three always makes things nicer. You know? That's why there's 3 rings. So, and I agree with you. She doesn't. I like the way you put it. She does not look like she has had to eat a bug a day in her life. Her hair is dirty to the point where it's fashionable.
Yeah.
She is wearing clothes, not
been 300 years.
Yeah, it has been 300 years.
How have you found clothes that perfectly fit
Tom
you?
Hanks, over the course of 4 years, had to wear whatever he wore on the island 4 years after inhabiting it. It's been 300 years for her. She's born into a world where this is reality, and she has clothes. But, and I agree with you, and let me tell you this, Dave, as to what I have an issue with. Maybe an issue I have as to why this is 4.5 stars for me and not 5. The apes speak English brokenly. She speaks pretty good English. If her English speaking or her verbal communication was broken in a way where we can identify that's not normal to us, but we can still understand her, just like the apes, 5 stars.
See, I wonder, is it, like, obviously towards the end when she goes to the satellite, did she come from that satellite and say maybe she's only been out for a year? That's why, and they all speak English perfectly.
I suppose you could say that.
Then that's an argument to be made. That wasn't...
But isn't it said that she came from a tribe of humans where her mother told her silence will keep her alive?
I feel as though that... She did definitely say that. But as we learn throughout the film, she's not to be trusted. She's not who she says she is. From the start, we are introduced to her as the defenseless...
yeah.
Mouse, essentially.
Believe me, David, I really love that she had to hold on to Noah's back while he does the climbing. You know, like, let's acknowledge the fact she is a human in a world of apes. Woody Harrelson said it. You're stronger. You're smarter. You're capable of more. And they are. She will not win in a fist fight with Noah.
But she keeps that side of herself. She keeps the articulate side of herself secret.
For a good portion. Which is why I loved, because we got the Nova story of her. We got the Nova character of her.
Before she became May. Yeah,
yes.
Before she became an actual person. Yeah.
And I like how this movie did a reverse spin on it, because I think I remember when I saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes in the cinema, and the fuel was boiling, and Caesar grabs it, and Draco Malfoy says the line, "Damn dirty ape," and Caesar, Andy Serkis, no.
See,
and of course, yes, and
it's so good of a line,
yes,
right? Because you forget. That moment is so powerful in that movie that you forget that this is a franchise where the apes are supposed to speak.
But
they're supposed to be talking the entire time.
And you forget watching Rise because you're so engrossed with the story you're watching. You think you're following it because of James Franco, but no, not really.
No, you're there for Caesar.
Yes.
And when he finally speaks, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But you should know.
Yes.
It's like as if they rebooted Harry Potter and he didn't cast a spell until... 3/4 of the way through, and you're like, oh yeah, they're supposed to be wizards.
Yeah.
It's like it's the perfect like build up to it. And so that way it's such a powerful moment. Even you describing it there, I was getting goosebumps. So it's mirrored then in this one that the first time the human speaks, she shouts Noah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
And can we just talk about that sequence for a second where May, or before she's May, she's Nova, she sees the feral humans just coming to take a drip of water, no different than the zebras.
Zebras and deers, yeah, that's how,
Yes.
yeah, exactly like that. Yeah.
And Noah still has to go off in his tribe, and Raka is going to stay and teach them. And by the way, Raka living such a flexible lifestyle where he can just bury his lover and, I'll go teach these humans because I'm curious about their kind. But I like how Nova is looking onward towards Noah because she forms an attachment to him. We as the audience think so, anyway, because she's like a pet looking at her own or leave
exactly,
her.
yeah.
And that's what we're thinking.
But not at all.
Well,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well, now the Viking barbarian gorillas come, and I like this scene where it really solidifies the ideology of the franchise, where the apes are capturing humans, and Noah's smart enough to run away, and I like how Noah isn't as ignorant or selfish. He sees what's happening, so he goes to charge back. And while the villains are searching for Nova, we see her. She's hiding in the tall grass. She sees, just in view shot, Noah shouting out for her and calling out for her. And I felt a need and a rush and a desire for her to get back to him. Why? They met not too terribly long ago. It's been a very strained relationship between them. Like, he doesn't want her around, but she wants to be with him. I don't know if she feels a sense of safety with him. Now, this is what I'm thinking when I'm watching the movie.
Yeah.
But I love how you gotta do it. You gotta do something. You gotta let him know you're there, because he'll come for you. And she shouts, Noah. I thought she shouted a noise. I thought she just made a noise. I knew it started with an N, or I knew she tried to pronounce his name as a non-verbal communicator, as like an echo. But he charges to her on the horse, and she runs to him with the fucking gorilla on her tail. And I like how he got back to her. You know, it's like it's the scene I needed when Jon Snow tried to get Rickon Stark.
Yeah,
I really needed that. So. And then they got away, and then they meet up with Raka, and they get away. And then, yes, Noah heard her, and he's eyeing her up. He's staring at her, and she walks away. And he's thinking, does he think she spoke? Because that's what I'm hearing. And then he says it to Raka. She spoke. Just like how the human said to James Franco in Rise. He spoke. Your ape, he spoke. And then Raka is, of course, Raka is in disbelief. Like, he is fate and all. And he's curious about the humans, but not at all.
Yeah.
Like there are some who are smarter than others, but then my name is May. And just a nice comedic moment where he drops the bag and shock.
It adds more to that, like you were saying earlier with Raka, where he is the wise one, but his knowledge is limited to what anyone would have 300 years after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, like you were saying there, how they were walking around the airport, and he says, this is where apes used to herd humans and stuff like that, and like opening a book, and it's like, these symbols, they mean things. Like, he knows, but he doesn't know everything. So like that,
which, by the way, I do appreciate watching those dialogues while realizing, they're in an airport. There's a crashed plane or a landed plane out there, and you just see everything. It reminded me of The Last of Us in a way.
It did, yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, 100%. I got that vibe too of the nature reclaiming the earth, which is, you know, what it will do eventually. So it's cool to see like an airport or the buildings, the skyscrapers from earlier. But yeah, having the knowledge but not the full picture.
Yes.
And
we as an audience can flag that and identify it, you know, and correct it if we want.
But then when she does speak, he's like, no, this is something new entirely.
Yeah. So you got your both and, right? You had your cake and you eat it too.
Yeah.
You got the feral human Nova in this movie, but of course the story you go into, you need more. All right. So she's a well-spoken, brain-thinking human.
She's the exact opposite of everything that we thought she was.
Yes, and we've already flagged the flaws and things that should have been improved on to elevate the world she's inhabiting. But what does she want Noah for? But before we get to the climax of the movie, she wants
she wants to go where he's going, and she knows that it's safer just to go with him.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know exactly where it is, but he's obviously got the tracking ability.
Yes, and he is just trying to find his family. And I like how she's not being truthful. No. And we come to that later. And we always come to the worst part of the movie, right? Where the quest is broken up because they crossed the bridge. And how dangerous to just cross a bridge like that these days. And I don't know if it's a thing that apes aren't actually good swimmers or not. I'm not sure. But I like how we're not led to believe that they're not escaping this. They're going to be captured. And you can't have too many captees in this situation. Only the main characters. So
we unfortunately lose Raka. I was genuinely upset to lose him.
I was... No. We can't lose him.
I think it's because not only is he a good character, but I quite like orangutans. You know, Maurice and Raka were both orangutans between the last trilogy and this one, and it's like, no, I like him. Like, come on.
I don't know if it's the fact that they just stand out in colour or that they're just categorised as the wise one. But I think in general, orangutans are my favourite. Out of all apes, monkeys, gorillas, orangutans are my favourite. And Maurice is class.
Yeah. When he speaks for the first time in the second film.
Yeah.
When he just turns and goes, run.
Because
he's got that big deep voice.
Because there's no other way he can tell them to run. He has to, he can speak, but he chooses not to.
No, he prefers to sign. Yeah.
Yeah. And the sweet moment where he names the girl Nova. That was cute. But yes, I don't think... Well, no. I hope Raka is not dead.
Yeah, I hope so too. It seemed like there were rapids right after that bridge, so we might lose him. But I know there was a post-credit tease with Raka's voice. Now, being said, there was a post-credit tease after Dawn with Koba, and he obviously was dead. You know, he appeared in visions to Caesar, but fingers crossed, maybe Raka somehow survived.
But they even mention him at the end. No one mentions him at the very end. Raka would know what to do here. Now, I think that's a little bit too much of a relationship he has after the journey we've seen him on. Like, he only met him for like 2-3 days, and then that's it. But they should bring him back. He's a good balance to the trio.
Yeah.
But they're captured now, right? And we're like halfway into the movie, right? And now finally we get to the kingdom. And let's build up the villain of the movie, the antagonist. The best villain, I argue, since Immortan Joe in Mad Max Fury Road. You not. Proxima Caesar is such a great villain, and I was counting the scenes he's in because he's not in it enough.
Well, before we talk about Proximus and his kingdom of Planet of Apes, do you want to jump into some flashbacks?
Love to.
We'll run through some very, very quickly. Folks, you know her, you love her. She came back. We fired her last week, but we decided to rehire her. Laura, play that music for us. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, we just, there was a ton of fan feedback. We got emails, we got comments, we got texts saying, hire Laura back. I'm not going to listen to the show if Laura's not doing the music. So we had to give her a pay bump. Few perks, company car, everything. But as you heard, she's back.
And a tank top.
And in a tank, yeah. So, flashbacks for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Flashback number 1, Wes Ball revealed that he will offer the entire kingdom as a rare before and after Blu-ray bonus feature consisting of raw dailies and complete performance capture and VFX. These are true storytellers at work here. I want to show that off and celebrate it, Ball said. So there's going to be an option on the DVD to have, you can watch it with the apes or you can watch it with the actual actors in their motion capture suits.
Would you watch that?
I don't know if I'd watch the full movie like that, but I would. It definitely does seem like a special feature option.
I want to watch the likes of Peter Macon and Kevin Durand play the roles they do here. You know what? Owen Teague as well playing Noah. Because, and it's funny as well, I feel quicker to watch this than I would Andy Serkis or anyone else in the Caesar saga.
You think?
I think that's only recency bias, but I've seen Andy Serkis perform in non-motion capture roles. And he really does it well. He's an Andor, and oh man, that's the face he can pull. Andy Serkis is, you know what, might be underrated.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Absolutely, so much so that we've been referring to it wrong. It's no longer motion capture; it's performance capture.
Really?
Yeah,
performance capture. Motherfucker gave a performance.
Yeah, absolutely, it always does. Flash fact number 2 is revealed recently that The Kingdom is the 4th film in a planned 9 ape saga.
So this is 4 out of 9.
4 of 9, almost halfway through at this point. I could see this very much as 3 trilogies. We could, I think, very much so get obviously the Caesar trilogy, we could get this Kingdom trilogy, and then we could get a 3rd trilogy where we're at the stage of the original Planet of the Apes, you know, with that's one thing about this there's one thing about this saga now that we haven't been introduced to either, is that time travel is also a heavy element of the Planet of the Apes films, not even touched upon in this. We have literally the beginnings of it with the satellites, and we know obviously the astronauts went up in the original Rise, but
they went missing.
That's obviously the time travel element, but
I watched Rise as you did, and we watched War and Dawn. I just said that out of order, but I was actually paying attention how many astronauts were in that mission to Mars. I think it was only 2 men. So I don't know if they're going to retcon that and make 1 man, 1 woman, or I believe it was 2 men in that manned mission. Are they going to bring that around to the final movie or the final trilogy?
Well, they're the ones who land on the Planet of the Apes, and it's years and years in the future, but they've gone up. That's where the time travel element comes into it. So I would like to see a final trilogy with them now in this Planet of Apes,
where apes are civilized.
Yes, exactly. We've gone full circle to the Charlton Heston
because
version.
We're not there yet, right? Not at all. We're still in a world where their apes are something like Neanderthals and hunter-gatherers, are they?
Absolutely, yeah. No, by the time that the kind of Charlton Heston ones, they are very much ape-like scientists, and it is a civilized society.
They're like us right now.
Exactly.
Whereas we're not there yet. So I'd imagine this Kingdom trilogy, we'll just call it, will focus on these set of characters. And then, many generations later, I think I don't know, I have an idea that the next 1 or 2 of this Kingdom trilogy, one will be Evolution of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, definitely. So, I could see that be the 3rd one, absolutely.
Yeah, because it's what steps next to. So that's interesting, but I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for science fiction, really. Well, it's not
even though
I'm not ready for time travel to be introduced into this franchise. I'm not ready for the Dune Messiah of the Apes movies.
It's funny you say that, because the original one, like, it's the crux of the film.
Yes,
you know, it is time travel, but
not in our day and age.
No, it doesn't feel like that. Even though the same way that we said earlier that you kind of forget that the apes are supposed to talk.
Yeah.
You forget that time travel is the cause of this, you know, the reason why.
But I'm not ready for it. No, I want to focus on the human stories.
I'm fine to live within the world that it is at present. Yes. Before we are introduced to the astronauts again.
When you do these next 2 movies, if you plan to do them, however you want to do them, let some time pass, you know. Let's be parents by the time the 3rd trilogy comes around.
Yeah. And then flashback number 3, Raka calls May Nova, stating that apes name all humans Nova. Nova was the name of the mute human adopted by Maurice in War of the Planet of the Apes, and Nova is also the name of Taylor's human mate in the original 1968 Planet of the Apes. I like that. I like that it was, when I had seen originally the names of the characters, that May, it was like Nova/May. And I was like, why is she named Nova? And
no, why is she named May?
I thought of it as, why is she named Nova? And then obviously in the War of the Planet of the Apes, she's named Nova after the car, the Chevy Nova. And then
wasn't there a like comb? It says Nova on it.
Maybe it was a comb. I thought it was a.
I believe it was comb
from a car.
He pulls it out of her pocket. It looks like a comb of sorts. And
I thought it was like the title of a car. Do you know, like the way you have like BMW and all that.
The red thing.
Not the reg, but like just the car name on the back.
Maybe you're right.
I thought that's what it was. But
still gets the point across.
Yeah, and so I like then that we had the, like you said there, the evolution where Raka says we call them all Nova. Because obviously the one in war had such an effect and lived amongst the apes.
Yeah.
They all had a love for them. That's why now they call them, and that will progress beyond to the late future when we have Nova, you know, in whatever trilogies we have to come, or films.
Unfortunately, that one has to be a non-verbal human.
Yeah.
So how you approach that, I don't know. We'll see. But I wonder whatever happened to that Nova in war.
I assume that she just lived peacefully amongst the apes because she would have no reason to hide or fear them or anything like that, or they wouldn't have any reason to fear her. Like, I would say that she would be protected by Maurice and Rocket and just live amongst the apes. And that's the thing, is because obviously we get the prologue at the start and then we move straight in, we can just assume that, oh yes, they all lived happily ever after and there was no more conflicts for any of them and they died peacefully in their sleep.
No, so that's the point of this movie.
No, those characters in that movie, that's how Maurice died for me. He never had to deal with anything difficult for the rest of his life.
Oh, well, they did, but this is a new trilogy.
Yeah. But those ones in that original trilogy, they were all perfectly fine. And that brings an end to the flashback section. Laura, play us out of here. Thank you, Laura. Now, sorry, to jump back to what you were saying, we are introduced finally to Proximus Caesar.
Yeah, I tell you, David, Immortan Joe, Proximus Caesar was such a colourful, expressive character. Mm-hmm. So he's the guy who's preaching the law of Caesar, the teachings of Caesar, all right?
He's twisted Caesar's words to his own advantage.
He's bastardized it, David. Mm-hmm. He's turned it into his own personal gain. That whole law, apes together strong, yeah, gather up all the apes and make them strong together to do his bidding, but proclaim it as his way of Caesar. Mm-hmm. This guy just appointed himself as king because he found himself in a position where he could. Mm-hmm. And this ape, right, Proximus Caesar, not a traditional looking ape.
No.
He is as big as the roof. He was very blue as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, blue would be a good way to describe him, alright, yeah.
He is gigantic. And just to give a shout out, Kevin Durand played him beautifully. I have yet to see him on YouTube where he does his interviews and goes into the role of performing Proximus Caesar. But the way he speaks as well, he's very, I don't know if it's charismatic, but he's very energetic. Like, see, he's imposing as well. See, he's very welcoming, but he's intrusive in his welcoming.
Yeah.
He said, come, look, come, I'll show you this.
Yeah.
Well, gripping your arm as if you have a choice and shows you this. And he's as huge. I loved him going over towards May and just grilling into her of how weak she is and how lost she has been in terms of winning and losing in her quest to whatever she needs. Like, he openly discussing about what he wants while also saying that it's the way of Caesar.
He's imposing as well the fact that the gorillas that they're not the leaders, you know? Because I would have always assumed like a silverback gorilla is going to be a lot stronger than, say, Proximus Caesar or Noah or anyone.
Bonobo, I think, if that's the name I'm thinking of. Bonobo.
Is that a type of monkey or is that, sorry, a type of ape?
It's not, yeah, I think so.
Well, the fact that they're not the ones in charge, they're still the brutes. They're the ones that are doing the bidding of Proximus. But like you said there, that he's such an imposing figure, but yet he's not like benevolent. He's not completely out of his mind because they're having the dinner and his friend, Noah's friend, Anayu, he comes over and he spills the food because he can't believe Noah's there. But he doesn't, you know, Caesar then doesn't take it out on him and hit him or something like that.
Oh, like, but he reacted.
He reacts, yeah. But
he got like... like as if he's done it before. If he did it a third time and it was at the wrong time, caught him in a bad mood, he would have just broken his neck. And I believe he could do it. Yes, it is Bonobo. He is a Bonobo, Bonobo.
Perfect.
I just want to make sure I'm not flagged for being incompetent. But even with how his pet William H. Macy is filling him in on the evolution of humans and what glorious ways of living they had, and how even his pronunciation, evolution. Yes, that's how you say it. Like, that's just an inkling of how he speaks. And I like how William H. Macy acknowledges the world he's in, and he's got the good life. He's got his own home of comfort.
He's making the most of it. He's like, right, when he's saying to May, he's like, what world do you think we're living in?
Yeah.
This is the planet of the apes now. We're never going to get back to what we were. Do you know, me and you, we're lucky because we can speak. Yeah. We still have our minds. For them, seeing the other humans that are essentially just cattle now, they've lost their ability to speak. They've lost who they were almost. So he's making the most of it. He's living the life of, essentially for him, what will be a king.
And I appreciate that William H. Macy was given a role like that. I would have found it a little bit uncomfortable to see an actor like William H. Macy to play a feral human wearing next to nothing, not being able to communicate. I thought maybe he would play an ape, but I always had a feeling he would play a human because it's William H. Macy. Yeah. And I'm happy with the role he played, and I thought it could go either way on whether he could actually do something for the good of the human race or remain in his shell for his own personal safety and sense of living the good life. And of course May had to do the one thing that maybe she didn't have a huge problem doing, and kill him. Because, you know, William H. Macy, he didn't say I'm sorry before he was going to go tell Proxima Caesar that Noah and May are up to no good. He says he's going to skin your ape alive. I'm sorry, what? It's like your sense of dignity and self-worth and love of any idea in the human race is just gone. Because that was quite violent. That was a violent thing to say. He's going to skin your ape alive. Like, he wasn't going to go above and beyond to help May out in life. Like,
no reason to.
No. And I like the idea that maybe he would have loved a human companion to bounce off and not just be stuck with all these apes, hoping that if he tells a good story, he won't be killed for making it boring. You know, because that's the life he lives. So we are introducing this kingdom, and Noah's reunited with his clan. And I like how Noah had his moment where he's talking to himself, conflicted with the new teachings he's been given by Rocca in the way of Caesar, and that the law now is juxtaposed to how opposite it is to what Proximus is. So just two ends of the spectrum on what to believe, but he has his revelation that but the law is wrong. And then he's able to call the eagle to come to his arm, and I'm not gonna lie, that was actually, it was a good scene. I actually like Noah. If you were on board on Noah as a protagonist you can follow for this kingdom, that has to do it. And if that still doesn't do it, well then maybe this movie ain't for you. But Noah, he's actually a class character. He's capable, he's learning, and he's not naive. I really like that. And now he's gotten his friends, what was his name? Anaya and Loa, starts with an L. The three apes and May go back to find their way into the vault, because that's what Proximus wants, right? He wants to break into the vault to see what's inside it, because humans, during the outbreak of the apocalypse and the virus, hid themselves inside the vault.
Sorry, the girl's ape's name was Suna.
Suna, right. Don't know why I thought it was started with an L, but okay. So this whole time the apes were just wasting their energy from trying to burn into the vault. See, that's the thing, right? They're the dominant species of the planet, yet they're incapable of opening the vault from the outside, you know?
And they never would have.
No, never would have. And I like how Proximus comes out giving his chant, "What a glorious day, what a wonderful day," and he gives the speech, the Caesar teaching, "Apes together strong, now pull, maybe strong tomorrow," because he's angry. So
it's almost like when he gets up there and he says like, "Oh, what a lovely day it is." It's almost like he's trying to convince them, it's like, I made this day this nice.
Yeah.
That he's got some kind of power over how nice the day is. You should work hard for me because I made the day this nice for you. Do you know?
That's great.
It is. It's very good. And they want to get into this vault because...
Well, Proximus Caesar knows there's something in there that can
doesn't
improve.
know what.
No, doesn't know what, but he knows there's power.
Yeah.
May knows that there's something in there that could help humans speak again. As she said. She says it's a book. What else could she know it is?
Yeah.
Technology, not really a thing in her way of life. No matter how good of dialect she's able to communicate, nor the knowledge of technology she knows. But it is like a card that you pull out of a machine.
It was like a hard drive or something, yeah.
And I like how she even knows curse words like shit. And Noah has a minute to think, shit. That actually caught me off guard a little. Oh yeah, that's not really something they know. And then they're all climbing away, and as I said earlier in the review, that they're all climbing, but May, she has to hold on. She has to hold on to the back of Noah. She has to. She's a lesser.
She's still dependent on
them.
Yeah.
Very much.
Even though in her head she still thinks that they are the dominant, like humans are better and they're the dominant species.
Yeah.
She's still dependent on them.
Oh,
Because she can't do this without the apes.
And she's still demanding in what they're doing in there. Because, wait here, I'm going to go check something out. Time to go. Let's go. Now, where we as the audience realize, okay, so there are vaults that were hidden away. A real fallout situation took place. I won't reject that. I'm sure it's okay to introduce something like that. Oh yeah, during Dawn and War, there were these vaults in certain areas in the world that humans and civilization kept alive, kept English speaking a thing. But in this particular vault, the humans have died out, and Noah and his companions come across the book that really just says it all, right? And now in this book, which is a children's book, sees humans as humans,
the dominant species over apes in cages. And it's great because even from a little bit earlier on, when she kills William H. Macy's character, there's this look between all three of them where it's like, can we really trust this person? Because
that's what Proximus Caesar was saying, right? You can't trust them.
Yeah, they're starting to also, can we trust them? And they know the law themselves is ape doesn't kill other ape, so presumably in their minds, this is just what I interpreted, was that they would interpret, if ape doesn't kill ape, human doesn't kill human. Yeah. That it would be 1 for 1. So when they see that, they're like, okay, can we trust them? Can we trust May?
Yes.
And then they go in and they see the book and what he learns from Raka earlier on. They contain messages.
Yes.
And then they can see pictures, and then they find out, literally the monkey in a cage with a human standing outside looking at it.
A little girl.
And they look at each other and they just like, what is this?
And
this is not.
And then looking back at May saying, time to go. Real hesitance and trusting.
Right? And she's the one in charge of them now. All of a sudden.
Yeah, because they're surrounded by human-made things. And she got the drive, right? And she came across a closet of guns. The weapon that humans can hide behind to inflict their dominance over apes. And they go to open the vault doors, which, yes, not opening from the outside.
No.
And I like how when those doors open, I'm counting, David, the third scene where we see Proximus Caesar enter, and boy, am I ready for it. I just love every scene this guy was in. He's actually in like 4 scenes. Proximus Caesar is in 4, it could be long extended scenes, but 4, no doubt. And this is the 3rd scene he's in, and he was onto them, or he was ready for them, and he's bringing his mother in as hostage, and
brings the whole of Eagle Clan in.
And then he wants Noah to tell him what May told him to get the information out, and And now Noah has his clan inside the vault. He doesn't want the dam to blow up to flood it. And even though May shoots one of the lead villains or supporting villains to save Noah's mother, which I actually thought they were going to kill her. I'm glad that she survived. Shot her with a gun. And then Proxima sees her, little bastard, big fucking bastard, hiding behind everyone. Oh, May, you can go. Just tell me, is there more of that in there? He's he's delighted.
Yeah, he's brave behind people. I love that. Like, you know, someone who's
brave behind people is great. Oh, that is a great tagline for him. That's a great description. Brave behind people, because that's what he is. He's hiding behind all these other apes because
and he's the delighted look on his face. Like, just tell me, is there more of that in there? Yeah, you know, it's really, really good. Yeah, and then we have obviously May does leave.
Not only leave, David, she blows the dam up.
Betrays them. The thing that they were afraid of.
Yeah.
The thing that Noah and Anaya and Suna were afraid of this human betraying them. She does. She's like, I'm sorry. And she blows up the dam.
Because she can't let Proximus have what's in there because he'll only be more stronger. Well, what she has makes humans more stronger. Yeah. You can call her selfish or you can call her a survivalist, but she does flood the dam and she leaves.
And she puts the entirety of all of our main characters, including the whole of Eagle Clan, in danger of drowning.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like a real Titanic situation here, because now it's all about trying to rise to the top. And Noah actually tries to lead his people to safety, and he does so, and he's faced with the gorilla who killed his father and who's presumably killed Rocca. And you know, this beast of a creature, Noah ain't gonna fight him.
No, he's gonna lose. If he fights him, he loses.
Yeah. Well, I liked how this gorilla, he's very hinged on killing Noah because he was always a fly bothering him. I'm sure that's how he perceived him. And his blind need to catch this little, what's the word I'm looking for? Inconsequential speck of a nuisance. He didn't realise that he's too big to escape small places, and Noah led him in there, or intentionally or not.
Yeah,
crept through out, and the big dope. I just found that demise so satisfying. He killed his father by fire, killed Rocca by drowning. Now he gets what he deserves, and I like how Noah just stands there for a minute.
Just to make sure, almost, yeah.
And that's the only way to kill him.
It's the next best thing. Like, if you don't want your main character to actively kill someone,
yeah, because you don't save. You don't really want that. You don't want Spider-Man to kill a villain with his bare hands. That gorilla did that himself, and he escapes to the top with his clan. And I was thinking, are we gonna have time for the final showdown with Proxima Caesar? And I like how it's just him up there. All his disciples, all his anyone who was on his side, his soldiers, gone. It's just Proximus up there.
That's what I really, really liked, because Proximus is up there by himself. Yeah. But he's still just as confident. Do you know? He's surrounded by all of Eagle Clan.
Completely outnumbered.
It is 50-1. And he's still up there.
Beating the shit out of Noah.
Nobody stops him.
Yeah.
Because they're all afraid of him. That's how imposing he is. And I really like that. That realistically, if any of them had thought for a second, wait, hold on a minute, there's 50 of us and one of him. Yeah. Just push him off. Yeah. Throw him off.
That's all you have to do. But no, they're all scared and they're all focused on hoping Noah to come out of it. It's like that scene in Black Panther where M'Baku fights T'Challa, except the rule is you're not supposed to intercept and stop. It's similar to that, except you need Noah to persevere and pull through. And Proximus tells him, "You will bow before me, and then I will kill you." So just
add insult to injury. Yeah. And then obviously Noah gets to his feet and is singing, and he finally kind of he connects with the birds that he had such a trouble with at the beginning. We didn't even really mention it. That was the problem, that his dad couldn't connect with his dad because his dad could connect with the birds and he couldn't. And now finally them as a clan all come together, they sing the song, and the birds take out Proximus over the edge.
I really like that scene. It's not just a song, it was also a chant.
Yeah.
When
all the voices come together, they're Yeah, like
yeah, and everyone coming together. And then the first bird comes, like, you know, as an audience, this is coming, right? Mm-hmm. And I like that the first bird comes, claw Proximus's face. And then he can't handle a heap of birds coming at him. Because, you know, tell you what, he's a big dude, but eagles are big.
Yeah.
And coming at you like that, you're going to flap away. But when there's like 5 or 6 of them on you, what could you do?
Yeah.
Like,
in any situation, literally.
And then the last blow is Noah leading the center, charging his people, and he just charges his dad's eagle to push him off the ledge. The demise of Proximus Caesar. Mm-hmm. Class. And I like how he brings his people back home to rebuild, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They don't just take over that kingdom.
No,
they
go home. Mm-hmm. Noah's not leading a new civilization of all these other tribes who have lost their homes. No,
he doesn't want to be the next Caesar.
He doesn't. It's not. He's just living his life, and he's bringing his mother home. He's bringing his tribes back home, and then May is there with a horse. More fashionable clothing, I might add.
Don't know where she found it, but she found it.
Yeah, it might have been at Penny's nearby.
If anything survives the ape apocalypse, it's Penny's.
I like how she goes to him, something of a goodbye, but she's got a gun behind her back.
Just in case. Because
she's not...
For some reason, she doesn't trust them.
Yeah.
Even though she's the one that hasn't been trustworthy the entire time.
Yeah. And I really can't express how much I love this and how much I want this to elevate to what I want it to be. Mm-hmm. May is talking to Noah, and Noah is saying, do you think we should just restore ourselves back to living a life in cages? We are living, we have our lives. This is what it is to us, you know? And May says it was ours. Mm-hmm. May lives in a world where that is non-existent, but the idea did exist. Mm-hmm. And
it's a story to her.
Yes.
And she's saying it was ours. It's like, it wasn't yours ever. It's never been yours.
It was your species, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like it was easy to just proclaim land back in the Neanderthal days.
Yeah.
Now you
just rock up and, this is mine now.
Yeah.
Simple as. But yeah, she's living in this fantasy world of it was ours. It's like, it was never yours at all.
I think that is such a great ideology for someone to turn into the villain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I'll fall in love with this trilogy more so if they make May the villain of this, or the untrustworthy ally Noah has to reluctantly team up with. And there's so much they could do. Don't make her the typical human companion, the female lead to the male lead. No, you can make May the villain because you can actually understand why she's the villain, because she's trying to restore humanity. What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think having her as the pseudo villain, that's what I think makes a good villain. Like a really, really good villain. Even though Proximus was a great villain.
Oh, yeah.
Another great villain can be someone who is doing what they believe is the right thing. Do you know? And that's where May can fall with that great villain. You know, that's the Thanos.
Yes.
Thanos thought he was doing the right thing. May thinks she's doing the right thing for her species, but it's the wrong thing for everyone else.
And turns out there are more humans who are living somewhat of a civilized society underground, wearing hazmat suits in the outside world. And May brings them the hard drive, but she doesn't go back inside because she's been exposed to the nature of the world. So I don't think she's able to live underground. But they work the satellites, and they
allows humans to speak again.
Yeah,
great.
I'm telling you, man. The next 2 movies, one of them's going to be called Evolution.
Calling it now. Talking Pictures, episode 71.
But I wonder, does Humans of the Planet of the Apes sound like a good title?
No.
No.
No. I don't think so.
Okay, well, Evolution does.
Yeah, Evolution
does. Evolution definitely does.
Evolution of the Planet of the Apes, yeah. Yeah, that works.
Or, yeah.
Evolution and Revolution.
I don't know, Evolution becomes revolution was the tagline for Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think, I don't know, something like, we don't need to talk about
We
that.
don't need to pitch them.
Yeah, we don't need to pitch.
We know you're listening.
Yeah. Evolution, use that for one or the other. But
Yeah.
yeah. And I like how Noah brings Suna back to the telescope.
Yeah.
Yeah, to look at the stars. Conclusion. This is my favourite Apes movie.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to watching it again. And although I do miss Andy Serkis, it's not like the movie is lesser because he's not there.
Oh, no.
Do you know, it does a great job of telling the story. And I think for me, I don't know about you, I just really, really love seeing something that couldn't possibly ever be. Do you know? Like going to this world where apes are the dominant species.
It's not the same thing as watching a movie on a different planet with aliens.
No, not at all.
Because you know what an ape looks like. It's what they look like, but they're still not right. And it's not Uncanny Valley either. It's
No.
because it's so real looking.
But it's them walking through and like that they find an airport and you see planes in the background or skyscrapers that have been reclaimed by nature. It's just so... It's so close, but it's so far. Do you know? It's taking what we know every day and just making it different. And I just love it. I love just escaping to that world of something that I'm never going to see. Do you know? I just love it.
Where do you rank this in the 4 movies that has come out now?
I'd say probably number 2 for me.
So Dawn is number 1.
Dawn, yeah. Dawn, Kingdom, Rise, War.
Well,
But I think all of them are great films.
Yes.
I'd rank them all very, very highly.
Oh yeah, so they're all good regardless of how less good they are.
How I rank them amongst themselves.
Yeah, compared to each other, but they're all very good. What a franchise to go strong this many years later in this rebooted but also could serve as a prequel franchise to the original movies. Do what you want, but they're all good and they're still going. I wonder if there's a producer on all these movies because this is not just Fox anymore, this is Disney.
Yeah, this is the first Disney. And it's funny because it doesn't feel like it, but this is the longest we've had to wait for an Apes in this saga.
But it was never intentional to get this.
No.
Those Apes movies, they closed, right?
Yeah. It was 11, 14 and 17. And now this one 24, so 7 years.
Yeah.
But it didn't... We weren't expecting this at all.
No. This was announced in 2022, I think.
Yeah, so quick enough turnaround actually. In
Massive
fairness,
turnaround.
especially for a movie that looks this good.
I'm looking at this movie and I'm thinking, how could you afford this? Like you didn't have a hugely expensive cast. Your main character is one of the teenagers who got killed in It.
Oh, in
the sewer. The guy with the long hair, and then he appeared as a corpse later on. That's Noah.
I had no idea.
Owen Teague, yeah. Where the hell? Why did you choose him? I don't know. Until I saw the movie.
Yeah.
Man pulled it off. Great. I think actually Noah's my favourite character in this movie.
Yeah.
I think Noah is my favourite character. I love Rocket. I love Proxima Caesar. I really liked May. Noah is just capable.
But isn't it great that you can say that you really liked all 4 of the main characters?
Yeah.
Do you know?
In a franchise that doesn't have Andy Serkis or Caesar in it. And I've watched Rise, Dawn, War now in anticipation of this.
Same here, yeah.
This is my favourite.
And I think it's really interesting and cool the fact that with those ones, Rise, Dawn, War, the main human character was a big name as well.
James Franco,
Jason Clarke,
and Woody Harrelson. Except the difference is Woody Harrelson was the villain.
Yeah, but he was the main
human. Yeah,
but even say like those three, Rise, Dawn, War, they had a lot of named actors as well, like John Lithgow and Gary Oldman, as well. You're like, okay, Gary Oldman, what are you doing here? You know, so I think it's really interesting for this one to go and it be so ape focused. The main human characters aren't high profile Hollywood actors, but yet still you can say this one is your favorite.
Yeah, and by that, more money to the special effects.
Yeah,
and the visual effects, more money to it. It's the longest one, David. This is the longest one.
And I'm really looking forward to watching it again.
And Wes Ball is directing the Legend of Zelda movie.
Oh, yes. I did. I remember seeing him on the red carpet, yeah. I'm talking a little bit about that.
Man is definitely something to keep an eye out.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I just want him to come back to do this next one of this movie. We'll see. Any recommendations?
Yes, I do have a recommendation. I recommend the original X-Men TV series. I started that recently from the 90s, and I've watched it in anticipation for watching X-Men 97. I have not finished it yet, but I'm enjoying it. If you watched that when you were a kid, I don't know if you watched the original X-Men show, but it's actually quite good. I'm enjoying it.
I saw one episode somewhere where Professor X was standing, but that's it.
Yeah, well,
I know the theme music more than I know anything of the show.
I was in the exact same boat. I haven't never watched the show, but I liked the... I've just heard about this new X-Men 97. Apparently it's really, really good. So I'm going back and watching the stuff before. And luckily, it's actually good. So that when I get to 97, it's not like I've watched a load of crap just to get to the good stuff. Yeah. It's good, and I'm going to get to better.
You're enjoying it.
I am. What about you? Any recommendations?
I'm going to recommend a Macon Rosenbaum episode on his podcast.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Chance Perdomo.
Oh, yes. The gentleman that was on Gen V, is it?
Yeah, the metal bender. So, unfortunately, Chance had passed away in a motorcycle accident, and he was our age.
Yeah, very recently.
Yeah. And I think I saw that this episode was released posthumously, and I was a little hesitant to listen to it because I actually don't listen to Macon Rosenbaum enough. But I just started listening to this casually, and I actually haven't finished it. But yeah, Chance Perdomo. Just hearing him talk about his life and his career, and going from whatever works he did to Sabrina on Netflix to then Gen V and The Boys. Oh, it's so fucking sad. And not talk about losing an actor. No, this guy is a human.
Yeah.
This guy...
Losing anyone so young, yeah, it's...
And he talks about his mother so much in the podcast. So, heart going out for her.
Yeah. So, no, I'll definitely listen to that now.
Yeah. So, yeah, he'll be missed in The Boys. He was definitely he was the main lead in the Boys Gen V. And he's going to be missed. So
that's the Inside of You podcast with Michael Rosenbaum, is it?
That's it.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, thank you very much for joining me for this episode of Talking Pictures.
Say it with me, David. Thank you for hosting.
Thank you for listening to all the viewers at home, all the listeners at home. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to tell a friend. Make sure to subscribe to us on your podcasting app of choice. Make sure that you're following us on all of your social medias, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, absolutely everywhere. Anywhere that you think that we might be, don't worry, we are. So make sure that you follow us to never miss an episode. We post new episodes every single Wednesday, as well as a bonus episode every other week. We have a bonus episode coming out this weekend, isn't it? This weekend?
I don't know, Dave. I'm busting go toilet.
Oh, sorry. We have a new bonus episode this weekend, so make sure to check out for that. Brian, any final words before I let you go pee?
Nope.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks.